Something big is happening in Indiana, and the fallout could reshape Congress for the next decade. The political pressure, the threats, the swatting, all of it is converging around a single vote that most Americans don't even know is happening, and it's already spiraling into one of the most intense redistricting fights in the country. Welcome to Why It's Trending Daily. I'm Hank, and this is where I break down the stories that everyone is suddenly Googling, and I explain to you why they matter. So here is what's going on. Indiana Republicans have introduced a mid-decade congressional map that would erase the state's two Democratic-held districts entirely. Not tweak them, not narrow them, completely eliminate them. Now the goal is simple: add 2 more Republican seats to their column before the 2026 midterms. But the fight hasn't gone smoothly because several Republican senators say this isn't just another partisan adjustment. It's a power grab too extreme to justify. And that resistance is the moment when national GOP figures stepped in. Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Speaker Mike Johnson, they've all personally pressured Indiana lawmakers. Phone calls, in-person visits, social media blasts. Trump even named Senate leader Roderick Bray publicly, warning he'd support primary challengers against anyone who votes no. Now the message wasn't exactly subtle. Pass this map or you're going to pay for it. But the situation escalated far beyond just political pressure. You see, over the last few weeks, at least a dozen Republican lawmakers who hesitated or opposed the plan were hit with threats and swatting attempts. These aren't anonymous mean tweets. These are coordinated, dangerous, real-world attempts to intimidate legislators. One lawmaker received a false report that he'd murdered his wife and child. Police kicked in his door with weapons drawn. His wife and son were downstairs pulling out Christmas decorations when officers stormed in. Others got pipe bomb threats at their homes. Some were swatted multiple times, and several now have police stationed outside their houses because they don't feel safe. And all of this is over a congressional map. And here's the twist most people don't know. Even with a 40-10 Republican majority in the state Senate, party leaders still aren't confident they have the votes to pass this thing. Not because lawmakers disagree on policy, but because they're afraid of the consequences, politically, personally, in some cases, even physically. Some worry this will backfire in 2026 and cost the GOP seats. Others worry that giving in to pressure or voting against it could put a target on their backs. You know a democracy is in trouble when elected officials are making decisions based on who might show up at their house at 2 a.m. Now let's zoom out here for a second, okay? Indiana isn't an isolated case. This is part of a broader national push. Texas, North Carolina, Missouri all have rewritten maps under Trump's influence. Indiana is simply the state caught in the spotlight now, but if this map passes, you can expect similar moves in every red state where Republicans see even a slight opportunity to add House seats. This isn't about adjusting boundaries, it's about locking in power for 2026 and beyond. Now, here's why this matters to you. Even if you've never been to Indiana, the makeup of Congress in 2026 may be determined right now. Not by voters, but by state legislators under extreme pressure from national leaders. When threats and swatting attempts become part of the political process, it sends a message. The loudest and most aggressive voices get to shape a system, and that affects everyone. The laws you vote on, the representatives you choose, the legitimacy of our elections, the balance of power in Washington, even your faith in the system itself. And if Indiana eliminates both Democratic districts, it won't stop there. Other states will follow. The incentive is too powerful and the backlash is already baked in. Voters won't see effects until 2026, but the lines are being drawn today, literally. Now, this is the part where you'd hope cooler heads would step in, but right now the adults in the room are outnumbered by people refreshing Truth Social to see who Trump will threaten next. America feels like it's running on a political system on hard mode right now, and every election cycle is getting more and more chaotic. The vote in Indiana is going to send a message, whether it passes or fails. Now, if it passes, expect a wave of mid-cycle gerrymanders across the country. If it fails, it means there are limits to political pressure even in deep red states, and it signals real hesitation among Republicans about the optics and the danger of pushing too far. Either way, this is one of the most important political stories of the year because it reveals a lot about where our democracy is headed and how fragile the systems underneath it really are.